You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. If you're going on a Caribbean cruise and looking for some port day inspiration, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
All right, we are back. Another podcast right on time. All right. No, we're a little late.
Yep, it's all good. It's all good though. Let's not harp on that.
We're not going to, because the thing is, we're working on other things. It's not like we're not producing whatever you want to call it, content.
Yes, but we love our podcast
material.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's the only thing in my day that does not require me to wear lipstick. Well, that and the gym, but. As they go, I'm relatively, I get to dress relatively casual for this endeavor.
Oddly, you are all dolled up right now wearing lipstick.
Yeah, because we were just getting ready to go live on Amazon, and then we had a schedule change. We said, well, then let's go record our late podcast. So but here we are.
We're talking about fun things.
We're talking about
ports are always fun.
Yeah, people always want more information about ports. So I thought instead of doing a review of our Carnival Miracle cruise, which we did on YouTube, essentially like a vlog, we decided to break down our recap of that cruise into different sections. And the first time we talked about it, we talked about the ship and the food. And now we're only going to talk about the ports, what we did there, and some ideas for things to do in those ports too. If maybe you don't want to do what we did, which would be very understandable, maybe a few other ideas, at least in some of them, we'll give hopefully some inspiration.
Why would anyone not want to do what we did? It was fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that Damahagua Falls is for everyone, dear.
Okay.
That straight up a hill 45-minute hike is a lot. A lot of our cruise audience has already done it and loved it, but there are also a lot of people who are like, yeah, no thanks.
Well, straight up a hill might not be.
It's
entirely accurate.
It's an intense hike in the heat without proper footwear because you're wearing water shoes.
Yeah, the water shoes are dumb. I've come to the conclusion that water shoes are dumb.
Aww. A lot of people find them to be very uncomfortable. I got really lucky with mine. I loved them. But you and Junior had rocks in your shoes. You were miserable. And I've had so many people tell me the same thing happened
Well,
to
see,
them.
this is the thing.
Yeah.
You recommended some shoes or some water shoes for us.
I did, didn't I?
I went against your advice. And I think I paid the price.
You sure did. Mine looked like a sneaker. They had a little bit of a sole on them.
They looked great.
And you went with those flat types of classic.
Dumb. They were dumb. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
It didn't work out.
And this is probably like the third or fourth water shoe I've gone through and thought these are the ones. They were not the ones. But before we get too far away from it, we're talking about other content. You mentioned YouTube. Mm-hmm. We also have the website that doesn't get as much love as it should. Mm-hmm. We do have some new articles up there. Mm-hmm. If you're interested and you're bored, you have some time.
Yeah, we do.
Go check out the website.
Which articles should people focus on over there?
I really had fun writing the buffet table search one.
Oh, yeah. The day one buffet table scramble article.
Yeah.
I love that article. That was a great Mr. Cruise Tips TV.
But there's also one about Victoria out there. And actually, I did a lot of research for that. And it makes me want to go back to Victoria. So if you have anything planned for Alaska, Victoria's maybe a stop on that. Check out that article because you're going to get lots of ideas.
If anyone's wondering how to find this stuff on our website, we have a search bar right at the top. So if you wanted to search the Victoria one, just type hidden gems in Victoria or just Victoria Shore Day Guide. You could find those there. We also recently posted the Carnival Miracle food photos and menus. If you're going on Miracle and you want to see the menus for a longer cruise, it can be kind of an interesting thing to do. And there's a new article up there called 6 Things Everyone Rushes on Cruise Embarkation Day and Why You Shouldn't. Kind of a look at ways to maybe chill out a little bit on the first day, which I'm terrible at. This was actually written introspectively by Mr. Cruise Tips TV. So
it came from the heart.
It's
one of those things where you think, gosh, I'm having trouble with this. I wonder if other people do as well.
Right.
And that's where that came from.
I agree. And then for YouTube content, some of the new things that you can find there, or you can find if you're listening to this in the future, which a lot of people do listen to our content way down the road. We just put up a video, a a new, for 2025, cruise stateroom organization video with hacks in it. And that's a fun cruise cabin hacks video. We used to do those all the time, and it's been a little while since I've done one. We also have a video called Banned, Do Not Pack These Things on Your Carnival Cruise. And of course, our Carnival Miracle review and vlog is up. Also, our MSC Yacht Club Middle East vlog is up. I think people are having trouble knowing which one is that is the vlog. But when you see a video that says we flew 8,000 miles to try the MSC Yacht Club, that's the Middle East and Dubai vlog. So some good stuff to go watch if you're into the vlog style content. I know it's not the same as we used to do with daily vlogs, but it is kind of, in a way, it's a fun recap, and it's going to require a lot less time on your part to get through it. So I think those are fun. But let's talk about these ports, because we actually had a really good time on this Caribbean cruise. We were on a cruise out of Galveston that went to Montego Bay, Jamaica. We also went to Amber Cove, which is one of the port stops in the Dominican Republic. We went to the beautiful Grand Turk for the first time. We went to Half Moon Cay, which is Holland America and Carnival's private island, currently under expansion to make a dock over on the other side of the island, which is going to be exclusive to Carnival passengers. And then our last stop was in Nassau, which has changed quite significantly. So I want to talk about that.
It's pretty much unrecognizable.
And fantastic what they've done there in Nassau.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Montego Bay. I want to go in order so that I don't get too messed up here. If any of you ever have had a cruise stop in Montego Bay, you may have been through the shore excursion struggle where you're like, oh, shoot, I'm used to going to Ocho Rios, but this time I'm going to Montego Bay. What should I do? Right. And that's kind of what we experienced. So we chatted with our friends over at Shore Excursions Group, and they said, hey, why don't you try this excursion called the Green Grotto Caves? It's really super popular. It's a little bit of a hike from the cruise port, not a physical hike, but a long drive. It's an hour drive from the cruise port, but a lot of things are if you're going to be in Montego Bay. And so we thought, oh, that sounds fun. We always like caves. So at first I thought, oh, it's the kind of caves where you swim or float. And it's not. It's actually a cave system that you walk through. So there's no swimsuit required at all. I mean, you could just wear shorts and a t-shirt and some sneakers on this one. And it's a really popular tourist attraction down in Montego Bay. And it's something very different to do. If you don't want to do a beach day, it's really cool if you want to do like an underground thing. And it is actually literally kind of cool because you're underground. So if you don't want to get too hot, it could be a good one for you, except for the hike. There's a little bit of a hike out of the caves at the end, and you do need to be able to walk up some stairs. Some of the guests on our tour were physically uncomfortable coming out of the caves. Do you remember the stairs now?
I do.
Some people got a little sweaty. It depends on your physical ability level, I would say. I think you have to be able to walk up. Let's just say you need to comfortably be able to walk up 4 flights of stairs. I'm going to say that. I think that would be safe. But I think you were going to say something.
I was actually going to mention exactly what you just did.
Okay.
But
there's a little physical
like you said,
component.
it depends on who you are and what kind of shape you're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happens is you get a guide, right? You take a bus, and you can book this through Shore Excursions Group, by the way, friends. You take a bus down to the Green Grotto Caves, and then your driver will turn you over to a tour guide. And that tour guide is going to give you a helmet and a shower cap type thing to put over your head so that it's a sanitary thing, right? So that it's protecting. It's like a layer between you and the helmet. And then they give you a little orientation at the start of the caves. They tell you what to expect. They tell you what to do, what not to do. They do tell you you're not allowed to take any video. You can take photos, but no video is allowed. And then you're off for a short walk through the caves. I don't think it was more than an hour. And they teach you all about different things like history, things that happen there, movies that were filmed there. There's all kinds of really neat things that you learn about it. And it's a nice change of pace. It's very quiet in there. It's very peaceful. Although they do talk about how they used to have a nightclub in the caves.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it. So people shouldn't be told that there was a nightclub there. They have to go on the tour and learn that themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, dear. Well, I'm sorry about that. We'll make sure that that we don't give away too much about the Green Grotto. the secrets of the Green Grotto.
Okay.
Big part of Jamaica's history.
That guide's out there. He's kind of working his heart out there.
I know.
You don't give away all the secrets.
I won't give away all the secrets, but I think it is interesting for people to know a little bit about it. Like in the mid 20th century, did you know that between the 2 world wars, the caves were used by smugglers running arms to Cuba?
There you go.
That's cool.
There you go again.
I'm spoiling it?
You are spoiling it.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I will just...
Somewhere out there, our guide is going, man, she's giving away all my secrets.
All right. Well, then what do you want to talk about today? I'm just teasing you. He goes quiet. He just looks at me. Nothing. Nothing. Thank you very much. But it is cool. Just know though, friends, it's a long ride. It's an hour there, an hour back. So if it's a 4-hour tour or a 3-hour tour, you're going to spend 2 of those hours in the vehicle. And this part of Jamaica, I got to be honest, it's not super fancy to drive through. You've got to be comfortable with that third world feeling as you kind of roll through that area. But it is different, and Jamaica isn't all about the beaches, and I think this is a nice change. All right, so let's move on to our next excursion. And of course, you guys, if you want to see anything about the Green Grotto Caves, you can go check out the vlog because we do show some pictures. Unfortunately, though, remember that we weren't allowed to take any video. So it's just photos, right? I think we worked some stills into that video, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think so. Limited.
Yeah, it was kind of dark in there, so it's not like they're great photos anyway. But I think that this is one of those things where you don't want to give too much information, so people can go there and they can, it can be fairly new to them, and you don't want to. I think this is probably why they don't want you to take video. They don't want you to spoil it for people.
Got it.
That's just a guess.
Okay.
Could be something like maybe the bats don't want to be on video. I don't know.
The Bat Privacy Act of 2025.
It's actually puzzling to me why they don't want video.
Yeah.
But yet they allow you to take the photos.
Right. It was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I'm sure there's some reason.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So moving on, our next stop was Amber Cove, which is in the Dominican Republic. And oh my goodness, we pulled up to Amber Cove and I had no idea how beautiful it was going to be there. Now, the Dominican Republic, it's basically like an island nation, but the other half of the island, you guys, I don't know if y'all knew this, but the other half is Haiti. So it's like there's a border right down the middle of these two. And then you've got Haiti over on one side and you have the Dominican Republic over on the other side. And we stopped at Amber Cove, which is in the Puerto Plata province. And then there's other places where cruise ships stop in the DR. I think Punta Cana may be occasionally where people stop.
You're laying down a lot of P's there.
A lot of puntas. And
yes. Be careful with the plosives.
The plosives, yeah. I'm sure people who are listening on their earbuds right now are not loving me.
When you're talking about ports, you're going to have a lot of plosives.
Yes, I think you are.
Yeah, you were laying them down there with the Porta and
the Puerto Plata and the Punta Cana
and the people.
The people. Back to kind of looking at a map though of this island area, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. When you look at the map, you'll see Puerto Plata, which is near Amber Cove, and then if you look immediately to your left, you're going to see Labadee, which is Royal Caribbean's destination, their private beach, the Labadee Beach over there. So now I'm more excited to go to Labadee because I think that Amber Cove and Puerto Plata, that whole area is so beautiful. So basically Amber Cove is like a tourist area. It's basically like a cruise port, right? They've kind of built it up. They've put a pool in there. And we found it to be a little anticlimactic. We did the full walkthrough of Amber Cove, but there's no included food or drinks or anything. So maybe somebody else has had a really good time there, but we didn't really feel a great desire to stay. The pool looked clean and big and lovely, and it was uncrowded. It looked nice. It just seemed a little bit, I don't know, kind of tired to me, kind of run down. So I'm glad we booked an excursion. And what we did in Amber Cove or Puerto Plata is we took an excursion to the Damahagua Falls. And the Damahagua Falls are also known as the 27 waterfalls of Damahagua. But Spoiler alert, if you're doing an excursion to the falls, you're not going to see 27 waterfalls. In fact, I don't really think there are 27. They say that this 27 word is kind of like it's a combination of the waterfalls and the pools together. So the types of tours that you can do in Damahagua there's a few different types, but for the most part, you are going to take a hike up a hill to get some elevation. And then you're going to do what is basically called like a waterfalls excursion. So you're going to slide down, they are waterfalls. You're going to slide down waterfalls. They almost look like slides, like man-made slides with water running through them into pools.
And there will be where the water has carved through the rock. So it's been smoothed by the water over time. So you're sliding down those areas that have been smoothed by the water.
Very nicely described. And if you're not on a ship-sponsored excursion, you'll also potentially have the opportunity to jump off of one of the waterfalls. I've been told that if you're on like a carnival excursion, for example, they don't let you jump. But the jumping is really fun. It's intense and it's a little bit, it feels pretty high when you're up there, but it's one of those things where you just got to do it. You can't think
Not the
twice.
highest we've done.
Not the highest we've done, but definitely, I definitely had to make sure I didn't think about it too much because it was a little spooky. But if you do not want to jump at that last fall, you can climb down a ladder. And that was something that people did do.
You don't have to do it.
Right. You don't have to do it. But the sliding is a blast. One of the things I loved about this excursion is they allowed cameras. Any kind of camera. You could take whatever you wanted.
They were actually very helpful.
Oh my gosh.
We gave your phone over to the guide just to hold, and he popped it on and took a bunch of photos and videos, which I thought was really nice.
The funny thing is, I didn't see him taking them. I found the videos after the excursion. They were pro level, you guys. He had taken my camera and he got vertical footage of all of us doing this really cool slide. And it was fantastic. I was so pleased because we didn't pay for a photo package. This was just some random guide. And I just thought that was really neat. The other thing that's really nice about this tour is it's not expensive. You're going to find it's probably somewhere between $50 and $100 a person, depending on what type of tour you choose to book. And it is a lot of fun. So as we mentioned in the beginning, you got to be able to handle a bit of a hike. It does take about 45 minutes to get to the top. One of the reasons it takes 45 minutes, though, is because the guides force everyone to take rest breaks. Because there's people of different levels in every group. So they will make you stop every 10 minutes, maybe even more frequently, and sit down and drink water because they don't want anyone to get dehydrated or hurt. But I can tell you from my perspective, it was an intense hike. You and Junior were like, you're runners. So it was probably a little bit more natural and easy for you. But for me, it was a challenge and I needed the rest breaks.
A mild challenge. But let me say something about the guides because they were really patient with this type of thing. Like there were a couple of people there who I think were on the fence about whether or not they wanted to do it. And the guides were very encouraging and very patient. They let them rest.
Yes, right.
If they were struggling, they let them rest and everyone was okay with it.
Yeah.
But also with the jumping and the sliding itself, if you don't want to do it, there's no pressure. They don't try and talk you into it. There was a young girl there who came up to the last jump and she said, I don't want to do it. And then she said, no, wait, I do want to do it. And she stood up there for a few minutes and the guys are like, take your time. And then she said, no, I don't want to do it. Okay. And then she started down the mountain and then she came back out.
Changed her mind again.
And they were fine with it. They're like, oh, okay, you can go. And they let her stand up there as long as she needed.
And did she jump?
She did jump,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So
they were great.
If you're worried about that, don't worry. If you want to do it, do it.
Let me give everybody just a quick rundown on what to expect on this excursion, exactly what to expect if you're doing Damahagua Falls. First of all, you can do the Damahagua Waterfalls tour probably from either Amber Cove or Taino Bay. So if you're staying at there's another cruise port, if you're coming in there, I think you can do this from both. They are going to provide you with instructions on how to get out of the cruise terminal to meet your guide. That's a good, solid 10-minute walk from the cruise ship too. So you need to build in a lot of time to meet your guide. If you're not booking with the cruise line, you're going to meet them outside of the gates of Amber Cove. And that's going to take you some time. It's a good half mile to 3/4 of a mile from the ship to out of the gates.
And we should also talk about anyone who might be traveling with kids.
Okay.
Because there is an opportunity for them to split off.
Yes. And little kids.
Yeah. And go directly to a pool where they can splash around and wait for if their parents or one of their parents is going, on the falls, they have a place to wait and a place to have fun, and you get lots of opportunity to split them off.
Yeah, so they can swim and splash, but they can't jump. I think that the age limit might be 7. There was a family that was on our tour where they had 3 little boys.
Yeah.
One of the boys was allowed to go with daddy and do the jumps, and mom got to take the little ones. And unfortunately, the middle kid was very sad and he cried. He silently cried.
He was old enough to be kind of let down about not going with his bigger brother.
But as kids in the that have that many siblings do, he quietly cried. I saw him like sucking it up and going like, but like he didn't really even let his parents see it.
Yeah,
it was really hard to see.
He was sad.
But
he took it like a man.
And so if your kids are bigger though, if they're really up for an adventure, this is fun. This is a memory builder for them. And a lot of kids do participate in this tour. It is very family friendly. And you guys, this is safe. They're going to put the kids in helmets and life jackets. So that leads me to the chronological what to expect of the Damahagua Falls. Okay. So you walked outside the port, and you're going to find your driver. They're going to give you instructions. You're going to get in the van. They're going to tell you it's about 20 minutes or so to get up to Damahagua Falls. This is a short drive, very, very quick and beautiful, very green, lush, really pretty drive. You're going to be driving past fruit stands and trees and villages, and it's just gorgeous. They're going to have water in the car for you, most likely, and you're going to arrive at the base camp for the falls. This is a very busy and popular tour. So there's going to be just tour guides converging from all over the place, all kinds of cars, all kinds of buses. And then they're going to take you over to get you fitted for your life jacket and for your helmet. And at this point, if you've forgotten to buy water shoes and bring them with you, you can rent them there. It's probably $2 for the water shoes. So you get your life jacket on, and then you start making the trek, and you're given a bottle of water because you could easily get dehydrated on this tour. Although people, they don't think about it because you're in the shade. The entire walk is shady. So you don't have to worry about sunscreen as much, but you do need to worry about hydrating. And then you make your way up to the top of the falls where the excursion starts. So you hike. This is the part where if you need those breaks, they're going to give you the breaks. They're going to tell you to drink your water. And they're going to try to get you to finish your water because you can't take the water past a certain point. When you start traversing down the falls, you will have had to have discarded your water bottle. And then you're going to make your way to the falls. And the first thing you're going to do is climb down a ladder. And then you're going to start going through these little canyons. You're going to walk through canyons. The water is going to feel ice cold because the air is hot. It's very Caribbean and warm and balmy. But you're going to start walking through canyons, and then you're going to get to slides. And the slides are going to get progressively more intense and fun. And then at the end, maybe I think this whole thing really, the tour itself takes less than 20 minutes. Once you're walking, the sliding, walking, and jumping is not long. And then, once you get to the very end where you do the big jump, it's kind of like the climax of the tour, right? Then you hike back. But the hike back is easy. It's long, but it's downhill. So this is simple, but it's another good 20-minute walk back to back to base camp, and where you are going to then get in your bus. They may offer you rum punch if your tour guide is offering it. They offered us rum punch. It was too early in the morning, so I declined, and we just kind of got in the car and dried off. And then we headed back, and our tour actually included a stop at a fruit stand, which was kind of cool. We stopped at a fruit stand, and our guide bought us some bananas and some oranges, some locally made, locally picked fruits, and kind of explained to us how the government supports these fruit stands throughout the island, which was really fascinating. And then they took us back to the ship, 20 minutes or so. It's a fun one. It's not a full day. It can be a half day. But we loved it. I thought it was one of the cooler things that we've done as a family. I just really wish there was more time at the falls.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You were just going to say.
And I'm glad you mentioned the time, because going in, I thought it was going to be longer and there would be more because of the name.
Yeah.
But it went shockingly fast.
Right.
So, fun.
Yeah, you think 27 falls and you're like, okay, maybe not.
No, I was literally shocked. I went, wait, it's over?
No.
That was the last one?
That part was disappointing, but for some people that might not be, you might have something else you want to do for the day.
Sure.
And if that's the case, you're going to be glad, but I was definitely longing for more.
Well, everyone's
I was
different.
longing for more.
There might be people who would be like, oh, I'm glad that's over. Let's go get a drink now.
Right, exactly.
Somebody mentioned rum punch, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think they'll rum punch you up in the car if you want. Now, after that, we actually explored Amber Cove on foot, so the built-up kind of pool area. And then we just decided to go back to the ship. It's pretty, but it just wasn't really our jam. So we kind of figured we'd head back to the ship and enjoy the rest of the day. But the takeaway from our trip to the Dominican Republic is I fell in love with the DR, and I'd really like to go back there. I wouldn't even mind staying at an all-inclusive resort, maybe down in Punta Cana or something. I thought it was so pretty, you guys. It's so green. It reminded me of Puerto Vallarta, even more lush and green and just absolutely spectacular. So gorgeous. Love it. Can't wait to go back to the DR. And then what was after that? Oh, yay. Okay. So the next port that we had was a first time for us, and that was Grand Turk. And I think people really have mixed feelings about Grand Turk. Some people are like, oh, it's dumb. It's, it's just a beach day and it's so boring. And I gotta say, this is another one that I'm gonna put on my favorites list because I thought it was just fantastic. First of all, I love the fact that the ship docks. It doesn't tender. You just get right off that ship and you walk down the dock, and then you've got beach spreading out all over you, and you can enjoy your day from the get-go. So there's a lot of different things you can do in Grand Turk if you want to take some kind of a tour. There's ATV tours, there's kayak tours. A lot of people said that they did that they rented ATVs. I've also heard people say that they did a Hummer tour, which sounds fun. There's dune buggies. There's all kinds of stuff, jet ski rentals, all kinds of things. But we just decided to explore the beach. And of course, everybody had said, oh, just, get off the ship. And then if you're facing the coast, turn left and go to Jack's Shack. And we always thought if we went to Grand Turk, that's what we would do. We'd go to Jack's Shack, walk all the way basically to the end, and it's like the last restaurant or bar on the beach. Well, we did that, and we got there and we're like, it feels like a crew bar. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, we didn't want to have drinks and sit at a bar. We were blessed with incredibly sunny weather on this cruise, so we really wanted to enjoy that beach day. So what we did is we looked for some cheap beach chair rentals, and we found this really nice guy, and it was just dead there that day. I don't know why we got so lucky, but I think there was only the one ship, and there just weren't that many people on shore. So we found beach chairs for $5 a pop. And considering the fact that our ship was only docked there from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., I think that's one of the reasons why it was kind of dead. I think people were kind of like, meh, I'm just not going to get off the ship, or maybe I'm going to make it a short day. So we rented these beach chairs from a company called Kay, and it's spelled K-A-Y. I did a YouTube short, an Instagram reel, a Facebook reel, all of the above on this cruise tip. So if you want to go watch that, if you want to see what Grand Turk was like for us, and you have about a minute to spare, you can go see that. And do you know, Mr. CruiseTipsTV, that reel on Facebook got over 100,000 views? That's weird for us.
Nice.
That was weird. So people must be interested in the Dominican Republic and, I'm sorry, Grand Turk. But yeah, go down a little bit. Before you get to Jack's Shack, guys, look for the K beach rentals, and they're cheap, and you can get an umbrella and chairs for $5 a pop. And the guy even sold sodas and water. And so we stocked up on some sodas, waters, and I even had a beer. I had a Grand Turk beer, and that was kind of fun. So we swam in the ocean, floated. It was really pretty. The temperature of the ocean was really, really nice that day. But what we didn't know what was coming the next day with regards to the temperature of the ocean, because it was not going to be as enjoyable. Bum, bum, bum. That's my cliffhanger.
It's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. You don't even know what I'm talking about. He doesn't remember. He's looking at me like, what the heck is she about to say?
I'm still back on the beer that you had.
Oh, yeah. It was so funny.
You left out the name.
Oh, yeah. So my beer, apparently this is a thing. They have several funny labels of beer in the Turks and Caicos that they make locally. And mine on the label had the following letters. So it had 3 words. The first word was AIN, and the second word was GON, and the third word was LIE. And I was like, what is this beer? Iron Gonli? You guys, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the beer and he's like, honey, you don't get it. I'm like, what? I don't get it. He's like, read it. I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I think
it was cute.
I had to say it for you because you were trying to sound it out phonetically with like an accent.
Oh, don't tell people that. Please don't tell people I was trying to do it with an accent.
It was fun.
What kind of accent was it? Like a Jamaican accent?
I guess. Okay. I don't know what it was.
I don't know what it was either, but they had somebody.
It was cute.
When I posted a photo of me with the beer bottle, and somebody said they have another one too that's cute and quirky, but I don't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up. I posted it somewhere, but funny, huh?
Very.
All right, so our next port stop was Half Moon Cay, which is in the Bahamas. Very pretty, by the way. Half Moon Cay is the private destination for Holland America. It used to be just Holland America. Now it's Carnival. And it's gorgeous. It's like powder white sand, blue water with no waves. And we're talking that crystal clear Caribbean blue water of dreams. So if you're going to Half Moon Cay, there's a lot of different things that you can do there as well too. You can rent jet skis. They have a stingray attraction over there. You can rent a cabana. You can rent a clamshell. You can rent a giant, basically like a house for the day. I'm just going to call it a house. And you can have lunch included in your cruise fare. They do have a lunch out there. Now, we decided to do none of those things because we've been there, done that with Half Moon Cay. We've done the jet skis, we've done the clamshells, and I honestly think the clamshells are kind of lame. I feel like, we're a family of 3, so we would have to rent 4 of them to get coverage for the 3 of us. And, they sell out and they're kind of down in the crowded area of the beach. And I just am not into the clamshells anymore. The clamshells are basically just a way where if you feel like you have to get shade, if you're going in the summer months, okay, get a clamshell, right? Or a cabana. But to me, I didn't feel like I needed to spend a whole lot of money there. So we just wandered quite a ways down the beach and found a nice place to sit. Again, you guys, we were just having the most sunny, beautiful weather. So we put down our belongings and grabbed our cameras and we walked down to the water, put 1 foot in and went, oh my word, it is cold. And that's very common for Half Moon Cay. And my understanding is one of our cruise community messaged me. She's like, I was there last week. It is so cold. She's like, I couldn't even get in. She said it was like an ice bath. So Half Moon Cay in January, guys, it might be the chilliest time of year to dip in the water, but we did have a great time and we shut the place down. Like we had lunch on the island and we stayed there basically until the crew were leaving and the sun was almost starting to set and we just really had a nice beach day. We reapplied sunscreen many, many times. And just enjoyed. It was a great visit.
Well, and it wasn't so cold that we didn't go in. I was in the water for a long time.
You were,
but
yeah.
You did have that kind of brace yourself.
Oof.
You're getting in type.
Yeah, yeah. And when you got out and went and sat in the sun, it would feel really good too. You'd be like, okay, this is great, right?
Yeah. So
our last port of call was actually Nassau, and Nassau has undergone, you guys, a $300 million redevelopment effort. So it has been completely transformed. The Nassau that you remember, if you haven't been there in a few years, it now has a massive, massive dock. And off the dock, it has an enclosed, beautiful shopping area. And I am just in awe of what they've done here. I was I was never, Nassau was always a harder one for me. We'd always kind of do the same thing. We'd go to the Blue Lagoon or go to Atlantis. And I actually really loved doing those two things. But just walking around the port was never my jam because it just didn't feel fun. It felt sometimes a little sketchy. There's a lot of scams down there. There's taxi scams and all kinds of stuff. But now that they have redone the Nassau cruise port, you've got this beautiful area with shops and Bahamian crafts people selling things. You've got restaurants down there. You've got tour companies. There's gift shop after gift shop and any kind of food you can imagine, whether it's ice cream or lunch or a bar or locally made chocolates, locally made cigars, wines, candles, everything. It's so cool. So if you want to just chill and stay in you want to feel kind of just contained and you don't want to venture out for the day, just go walk around a little bit and then get back on the ship and enjoy yourself. But of course, there's a lot to do in Nassau as well. But I was really impressed with what they did there. And there's a lot of great things that you can do. Now, if you're brave and you want to walk outside and go to the straw market is within view right when you get to the exit of the port area, that new beautiful port area. And the straw market has a lot of local vendors in there as well. Be very cautious when you go into the straw market. There is a scam going around where people have said never give your name to someone who asks you, because what they may do is make a bracelet or a necklace or a craft with your name on it and say that you ordered it or purchased it custom, and then they'll try to force you to buy it, get the authorities involved. It can be a nightmare. So please be aware of that. I think it's probably calming down right now because that scam is no longer new, but do be aware of that if you go to the straw market. Important stuff. So those were our port activities for this one. I hope that this has been helpful for you guys and maybe give you some inspo of things to do in the Caribbean. We're still in a position in our cruise history where we have not been to every Caribbean port. We haven't been to every island, and we're still learning right along with you all. So thank you to everyone who gave us suggestions on things to do. And gosh, what are we talking about next week? Oh, I'm not sure what we're talking about next week on the podcast, but I think that it's okay for me to tell you guys we have a special theme coming to the podcast in March. Should I tell them or should I keep it a secret?
Keep it a secret. Give them a reason to come back.
Okay.
That and the fact that I have no idea what you're talking about. So I think I do.
Okay.
So
I think you've just forgotten.
I guess I shouldn't say I have no idea. I'm not 100% certain.
Okay.
But yeah, keep people in suspense.
It's only a few more weeks until you find out what our theme is for March. It will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it.
I think you should close out.
All right, friends. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a great long weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to those of you who celebrate. Did you like that?
Whatever. I don't know.
Or if you think it's a Hallmark holiday and it's kind of lame like us, then,
Well,
that's okay too.
It's always fun to have hearts and...
Oh, and like you say, every day is Valentine's Day.
Every day is Valentine's Day, baby.
On that note, until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.